Welcome to Part 7 of Competency 4. In this video, we will work with the list method for solving sequences and series. Okay, the first two questions will be from Competency 4, Part 1. All right, if you remember, these were arithmetic. Okay, this tells me something in particular, that I can use the list method. All right, so first thing, go to mode and make sure you're in function mode. See, you go down to where you see function, push enter. Now you're in the correct mode. Before I was in sequence mode. Okay, so say second mode to back out. Now we need to put this in a list. All right, so push stat and we need edit. So you push enter. Now go up, clear out those values, push clear, then enter. Okay, notice L1 is populated in 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 values to enter. You can put in more if you are given more. Okay, now we arrow over and we put in 2, enter 6, enter 10, enter 14, enter. Now, this has a common difference, not a ratio. Our prior formula was A1 plus, notice your common difference is 4, 4 in parentheses and minus 1. This would have been what we used to find our sequence. Let's simplify that and see what happens, okay? We have 2 plus 4n minus 4 equals 4n minus 2. Okay, let me show you what we do with our list. All right, so we're going to say second mode, go back to stat. This time arrow over to calculate. We need number 4, linear regression. Okay, so now this is what is going on. We have L1, L2. We're going to populate that, but let's put that in our Y1, okay? So alpha trace, we want number 1, push enter, enter again, and it's built. If you look, I see 4 and negative 2. So let's go check our Y1. So Y equals, that's highly suspicious. It's the exact same equation, except N would be for sequences and X would be for the functions. It is a linear situation, okay? So that means we're good to go. All right, now let's second mode back out. Let's go to stat. Okay, we did stat, calculate. Okay, we've already done all that. So actually what we need is second window. And we are going to the 90th value. So push 90. I like to push enter to let the calculator catch up. Then second graph, and there's our value. D was the selection we needed. Okay. Number 2, what is the 25th term of this sequence? All right, so what we do is go back to stat, and we're going to edit our L2. Okay, so I'm going to arrow up. And if you haven't worked in any other videos like doing this, you highlight your L2, you push clear, then push enter, and it'll clear it out. Never push delete in your highlighted list name. Okay. We can't do that. Okay. All right. So let's say 15, enter. Now we have 13 and 2/3. So we can use alpha y equals number 2, okay? And that is 13. Remember to arrow over. Don't push enter, push arrow. And then 2, then 3. Now we enter, okay? Next one, same thing. Alpha y equals number 2, and that'll be 12. Arrow over, and that's 1. Arrow down, 3, then enter. And the last value is simply 11 and enter. Okay, now I'm going to back out. Okay, I've got my list, so I want to do stat, arrow over to calc. I need number 4. And 1, 2, go down to your regression equation, and that's when we push alpha, trace, number 1, push enter, enter, enter. Then when you see that it's built your equation that you need, then you can say alpha window, and we need 25. 25, enter, second graph, and there's our value. Okay? Now, we'll do 2 more of these, but these are different types of sequences. Look, it does not have a common difference. It has a common ratio of 4. Okay, if you did those with me, we had that common ratio. No worries. Don't worry about it because we're going to let the calculator do this. However, because it has a common ratio, we're going to be going to number 0. Let me tell you what I mean. Hang on and we'll do it. All right. Back out, go to your editing your list. Okay, so I'm going to go up, clear it all out, and I need to enter 2, then 8, then 32, then 128. All right. I back out again, go to stat, over to calc. However, this time I need number 0. So I'm going to arrow up. And as you see, it's right here. It's underneath that one that was at the bottom of the list. Okay, so we go to 0, and everything is the same because we've changed our L2. Now go to alpha trace again. We put it in number 1. We're going to put it number 1, Y1 again. All right, then you now enter, enter, and there is our equation built. Okay. Notice that it's an exponential, and the same thing occurs when you alter your sequence equation. It becomes an exponential that you see here. Okay. All right. I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to explain how this is working. All right. So now we need to say, what do we need? We need the 10th term. Well, it's built, so I know it's in the Y1. See? Of course, it's not quite as clean, but it is correct. All right, so let's back out of that. So we need to go to second window, and we just need number 10. So we'll put number 10 in, enter, second graph, and there's our value, number C. Okay, let's look at the next one. This is from the same video, and it is going to have that ratio, which is 1/2. R equals 1/2. Yes, yes. I was looking at it verifying, but yes, that is exactly what's going on. All right, but don't worry about it. Because we know what type of sequence it is, we're going to use number 0 again. All right, so let's put this in our list. Remember, you always have to enter it in the list first. So arrow up, push clear, enter. All right, so we're going to 90, 45, enter, 22.5, enter, and 11.25. It's half of all of them. All right. Good deal. Now I'm going to back out. Remember that second mode. Now I go to stat, arrow over. I have calculate. But I can just push 0. We know it's 0, so we went to 0. And I'm going to go ahead and arrow down. Alpha trace. I want it. I want Y1 again. Okay. All right. Enter, enter. Now it's built that equation for me. All right, moment of truth. Let's go second window, and it said, hey, put it in the 30th. So enter, and now our second graph. Oh, and this will turn out the same as the other. See where it has 0.7? Well, that is rounded, but we want the -7. And the only option that gives us that is C. Okay? you're rounding, the calculator has to. There's only so much space that you're going to be offered as you see in those columns. So it rounds it automatically. But if you look at our ABCD option, there is no other that will work. Okay, let's go on to number 5. Okay, the next two numbers, 5 and 6, they're from our Competency 4, Part 4 video. Okay, if you want to go look at the sequence method that we use for those. However, we're using the list method again. Now, these two are our arithmetic sequences, right? So remember, we will be using in our calculate number 4. Okay, all right, so let's put it in the list. So let's go stat. Enter, go up, let's clear out our L2. And we need 2, enter, 6, enter, 10, enter, 14, enter. If it'll enter. There we go. Okay, now this is different. They're asking for the sum, okay? But I still want to back out, go to calculate, number 4. I'm going to go down and I'm going to put it in Y1, alpha trace. I know we already did this once before to find the term that they asked for. Okay, I'm going to enter. Okay, but this time we're going to do something different. Okay, I want you to push alpha window and go to number 2. We've done this before. This will add them up for us, okay? So let's go X, and it says the first 18 terms. So we want to go to 18. So 1 and 18, when it arrows, we arrow up to the 18, okay? Now you go over and say alpha trace number 1 and push enter. And there's our value. Okay, now let's do that for number 6. Same setup. And this one is arithmetic or linear situation because as you can see, it's plus 1/4. Okay, all of these are plus 1/4. All right, you can do the math on those if you want to stop the video and pop those in your calculator to check that. All right, so what do? We go to stat. And the 1, we go up, clear out your list. That's clear, enter. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and type them in how we see them, how it's written in the problem. Okay. So alpha y equals, we want number 1, and I have 1 arrow down, 2, then I push enter. Alpha y, number 1, and that's 3 arrow down, 4, enter. Now the third one's just number 1, so that's just 1 and enter. And then I have alpha y1, 1 is what we want, enter, and 5 arrow down, 4, and my list has been populated. All right, second mode, stat, go over to calculate. We're still putting stuff in number 4. It's still going to be a linear situation, so 4 and down, down, and I want alpha y1, enter, enter. Okay, and there's our built equation. Okay, so we want 81, sum of the first 81 terms. Okay, so alpha window, number 2. Okay, and that's X. And we're going to start at 1, but this time we're going to go to 81. Arrow over, alpha trace, number 1, push enter, and we're good to go. And that is the same value we got in the prior video. Okay, let's try the next one. All right, but this particular one is from Competency 4, Part 5. And as you can see again, we just put this in a minute ago. This is going to be a ratio of 4. The minute you see a common ratio, you know that you want to grab number 0. Okay, when you're building the equation, we're going to have to build it again. But we want the sum and not finding the term, okay? So we do the same thing. Push stat, enter, and I'm going to go up, clear everything out. Now you can type over, but I'm trying to show you something, so I want you to see a fresh screen. Sometimes I type over, sometimes I don't. Okay, 2, enter, 8, enter, 32, enter, 128, enter. I did that fast, so I need to double check. Okay, now second mode to back out. Now I'm going to go to stat, arrow over, but remember, I need that 0, number 0 that you can't see. So I'm going to push it and it pops up. Okay, so I'm going to go down. Now alpha trace, number 1 is what I want. Go down and enter, and it's built again. My equation's built again. Okay, and if you have an assignment like this, or you notice on your test that they're going to ask the same, they're going to use rather the same list again and ask you a different question, you might want to jot these down, or instead of using Y1 every time, use Y2, Y3, and save them. Just save them and turn them on and off. Like I have Y1, remember? See where it's highlighted on the equal? If I push enter, it turns it off. To turn it back on, I push enter again, okay? All right, second mode to back out. Now it wants a sum. So what do? I say alpha window, number 2. Now I just enter everything I need. I need to go from 1 to 24. 1, arrow up, 24, arrow over, and now I go grab my Y1. Alpha trace, number 1, and enter again. Now, notice that we've got a good solid looking number. I believe in the prior video, it looked different, the option, but we need to make sure that we have 10. That's what this e to the 14 is. That's 10 to the 14, and then round to 1.88, which is exactly what we have. Okay, good job. All right, let's go to number 7. For number 7, 8, 9, we are working with Competency 4, Part 5 video. Now, for number 7, I have a huge warning, and I will show you what happens. Okay, huge warning. I saw an issue when I saw that we were alternating positive, negative, positive, negative. When we don't use, remember, it worked great with a formula. We had a formula, we entered it, all was well under sequence mode. However, we don't need sequence mode. We can use the function mode. I'll show it to you. And we will not be using the sum formula. We're just using the nth term formula, which would be our a sub 1, which is 90, times our common ratio all up to x minus 1. Okay, x minus 1. All right, so what do? We go to alpha window, number 2, and we say x, and we want 1 to 15. So 1, arrow up, 15, arrow over. We are going to physically enter our formula, our little equation there. Okay, that's 90, parentheses, negative, alpha y equals, number 1. Okay, then we have 1, arrow down, and 3. Okay, now here's where I have to give some caution, okay? Now, look at how we have our negative. Make sure your negative is in the right position. Okay, and we're arrowing over. Now, you need to be right here. Don't arrow over twice. Don't close your parentheses. Notice it's automatically there right now. Now, what we do is do caret up, okay? And then we have our x minus 1, right? Then we arrow over and close. Make sure it looks like this. If you accidentally put your x minus 1, see where my cursor is? If it's accidentally outside that second parentheses, you will have an issue. Okay, so let's double check. And I always have caution using this particular one. I've made mistakes, countless. Okay, not because I didn't remember right, not because I didn't know what I was doing or I didn't understand. It's because I just didn't enter it in a calculator correctly. I wasn't paying attention. Now let's push enter. Uh-oh. Go back. Let's see what we did wrong. I did something wrong. Yeah, see what it did? It it did that again. Yeah. So I know it's a little annoying. So there's huge warning on this. I mean, I have warning after warning. So let's do delete here. I want to come over here, actually, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to say caret up x minus 1. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete this using the delete, 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 delete. Okay, now, delete one more time. Make sure it is gone. Okay, see the difference between the two. Okay, it automatically does the scan. I don't know why, but I have had this problem before. So there's a big warning on trying to solve this one the way we're doing it, but it works. Watch, enter. There's our value. So which method you want to use is up to you. You want to go back to the Part 5 video from Competency 4 and look again. Either way, you will need to remember the little equations, the little formulas that we use. Remember, this is A1, okay, times that common ratio to actually it's X. I put X there. That's what we used. But the other one that we used was N minus 1. But remember, this implies this one that you're in sequence mode. Remember, we are right now in the function mode, under mode. Okay? All right, let's keep going on the next one. All right, now the rest of these, 8 and 9, can be solved using the list method. They're okay. Notice they are decreasing, but it's positive, positive. On the next one, have a ratio where they're increasing, but it's positive, all positive. So we're all good to go. Okay, so, and we have a sum, and we have an infinite one. I'll show you how to do it. Don't worry about it. All right, all right, stats, enter. Okay, let's go up, clear everything out, clear, enter. We're good. Now, we have 60, enter, 15. So it looks like we're cutting in half. Oh, no, a fourth. They're cutting a fourth. It doesn't matter what the ratio is, to be honest. Okay, so alpha y equals, push enter. And let's say 15, go down to 4 and enter. Okay, now alpha y equals number 1 again, and 15 over 16. Remember, you got to use your arrow until you're done. Okay, double check my entries. All right, now I'm going to back out. Back all the way out. All right, now go to stat, over to calculate. And this has a common ratio. This is not arithmetic, okay? This has a ratio of a fourth. All right. So it doesn't matter what the ratio is. The point is you identify that it's geometric. All right. It is geometric. So we want 0 and go down and say alpha alpha trace, to get your y1. Okay. Then enter. Now enter until we get a formula. All right. Nice. We have a formula. Now it's not going to look like, as I'll remind you again, it will be a simplified version of our sequence formula, okay? All right, now we need to sum. All right, so we can say alpha window, number 2, and that's x. And for this one, all the terms, okay, this is what you do. Go ahead and say number 1, but when you go up, you are going to put x in again. What if you're telling it to do is just say X, 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 and do all the X's, okay? We don't know how many there are. Just do them, okay? So scoot over, and now go to your alpha trace, enter again, and enter And in this situation, we don't get a nice clean 80. We round to 80. When we use sequence mode and the sequence equation, it was a nice clean 80. Okay, we have to round to 80 in this one. Still, it works. Okay, there is a difference. All right. Now, well, the big difference is here. You don't have to remember the equation. You do have to know what you're doing and what it's about. But if you temporarily, like, I can't remember the equation on this test, well, okay, not a big deal. I'll put it in my list and you're good to go. I'm giving you options. Testing is stressful. That's my experience. All right, so number 9. What is the sum of the 15th to 10th for these values? And they do have a ratio, all right? But we're going to use the list method. Second mode. Okay, here. We were already where we needed to be. I don't know why I did that. Doesn't matter. Let's push this, go up, clear, enter. Oh, okay, there it goes. Didn't push enter right. Okay, 2, enter, 8, enter, 32, enter, and 128. Of course, we've seen this list several times, but this time we don't want the nth term. We want to know what the sum of certain particular terms are, okay? All right, so what we do is now we use second mode to back out, alpha window. Number 2, okay. But our x, put in your x, but you need to start at 5 instead of 1. Then arrow up, you are ending at 10. Arrow over, and we need to say alpha, trace, number 1, enter. Okay, enter again. Uh-oh, I did something wrong. Oh, you know what I bet I did wrong? I need to calculate it. And we need number 0. I had an old equation in there. Now, alpha, trace, number 1, enter, enter. Okay, now I have it. Second mode. Now, you know what I'm going to do? It wasn't correct. See how it wasn't correct? You see where it says, this is a good opportunity for you to see these things. When you arrow up, it says, hey, you have just put this equation in Y1 from your to list, and it is done, and it's there for you. Above it was my prior mistake. Well, I'm on my mistake now, and I'm going to push enter. Okay, and now I have 5 to 10. Now let's push enter and see. It's very different. Okay, but that's a way to go see what you have or don't have. Of course, A is our option. Okay, and you can double check that on the prior video. All right, so in this video, what we've done is just shown you that there is another option, and if the option doesn't work, for that one that we had, number 7. If it doesn't work, you will have to remember some other things. If you don't remember the equations, you will have to at least try to. But it gives you some other method. That was all that I wanted to do, was say, hey, if you have trouble remembering all these things, maybe you can remember how to use your calculator. Okay, this is the last question in this video. Once again, guys, you've been the best. Thank everybody for watching and liking our videos, sharing our videos, and subscribing. Everyone has been very kind. Thank you so much, and happy testing.